1969 was a wild year for music. While everyone remembers Woodstock and the Beatles, 10 incredible songs slipped through the cracks of history. These tracks dominated the charts for a moment and then vanished forever. Gary DiCarlo was a session musician struggling to make ends meet when he walked into Mercury Records with a half-finished song idea. The label needed a B-side for a different single, so DiCarlo quickly threw together Na 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 Hey Hey Goodbye with studio musicians Paul Lika and Dale Froscher. They created the fake band name Steam because nobody expected it to go anywhere. The song hit number 1 and made them millionaires overnight. DiCarlo still performs the song at sporting events and casino shows across America, earning more from this accidental hit than most musicians make in a lifetime. Here's the kicker. DiCarlo never wanted his name associated with the song. He was so embarrassed by what he considered throwaway music that he tried to use only pseudonyms. The irony? This embarrassing track became the most played song at baseball games in history, heard by more people than almost any other song from 1969. Sports fans nationwide know every word, while DiCarlo spent decades trying to distance himself from his greatest success. Pat Upton was working construction in Sacramento when he formed Spiral Staircase in his garage. The band recorded their breakthrough hit for $800 at a local studio, with Upton handling all the vocals and most instruments himself. Columbia Records discovered them through a demo tape and launched them to number 12 on the charts. After the band dissolved in 1970, Upton returned to construction work and later became a successful building contractor. He still owns the original master tapes and occasionally licenses the song for commercials and movies. More Today Than Yesterday's success nearly destroyed Upton's marriage. His wife filed for divorce during the height of their fame, claiming the sudden money and attention changed him completely. She later admitted in interviews that she couldn't handle dating someone who teenage girls screamed for in concert. They reconciled months later, but Upton deliberately sabotaged his music career by refusing promotional appearances and turning down record deals to save his relationship. If you're enjoying these untold stories, hit that like button and subscribe for more forgotten music history. Share this with someone who remembers hearing these songs on the radio. James Taylor and Danny Kortchmar formed The Flying Machine in New York's Greenwich Village, playing coffee houses and small clubs for spare change. Smile a little smile for me, Rose. Their record deal with Rainy Day Records seemed like a breakthrough, but the label was so small that Smile a Little Smile barely got radio play, despite being a genuinely great song. Taylor left music entirely after the band's failure, working as a carpenter on Martha's Vineyard. Of course, he later became one of America's most successful singer-songwriters. Taylor has completely disowned this period of his career and refuses to discuss The Flying Machine in interviews. He's reportedly bought back as many original copies of the single as possible to keep them off the market. The remaining band members have been contractually prohibited from using Taylor's name in any promotional materials for decades. Rick Evans wrote this apocalyptic song in 1964 while serving in the Navy. In the year 35, ain't gonna need... The song sat unreleased for 2 years before a small label picked it up, and it slowly climbed to number 1 worldwide. Evans died in 2018, still living in the same small Nebraska town where he wrote the song. Zager became a successful guitar instructor and luthier, building custom instruments for professional musicians. In the year 2525 was banned in several countries for its anti-religious message and predictions of human extinction. The BBC initially refused to play it, calling it too depressing for radio. What's really wild is that Evans based some of his predictions on actual scientific papers he'd read about genetic engineering and artificial intelligence. Several of his 2525 predictions have already come true, making the song eerily prophetic rather than just science fiction. Tony Joe White grew up in the Louisiana bayou, eating actual polk salad, a wild green that can be poisonous if not prepared correctly. He wrote the song Polk Salad Annie about the tough women in his hometown who could survive on whatever they could forage or catch.
Made the alligator look tame, Polk Salad Annie.
The song's swamp rock sound was completely unique in 1969, mixing country, rock, and blues in a way that nobody had ever heard before. White continued recording and touring until his death in 2018, never achieving the same commercial success, but maintaining a devoted following among musicians who recognized his influence. White claimed the real Annie was his neighbor's daughter who killed her abusive father with a shotgun and never faced charges because everyone in town knew he deserved it. Local law enforcement allegedly covered up the incident because Annie's father had been terrorizing the community for years. White never revealed Annie's real name, but he said she moved to Texas and became a successful businesswoman who still sends him Christmas cards every year. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more hidden stories from music history. Hit that share button and spread the word about these forgotten gems. Hugh Masekela originally recorded this instrumental jazz number, but Friends of Distinction turned Grazing in the Grass into a vocal hit by adding lyrics and a completely different arrangement.
It sure is never grazing in the grass.
Their version outsold Masekela's original and hit number 3 on the pop charts. The group disbanded in the mid-1970s, with members pursuing solo careers in gospel, jazz, and R&B. Lead singer Harry Elston continued performing the song at oldies shows until his passing in 2019. The group faced serious backlash from people who accused them of dumbing down Masekela's sophisticated composition. Some critics called their version musical vandalism and claimed they were exploiting African music for commercial gain. Masekela himself initially threatened legal action, arguing that their vocal version completely destroyed the song's intended meaning and cultural significance. He eventually dropped the lawsuit when their version started earning him substantial royalties. Bruce Hack, the Electric Indian, was an electronic music pioneer who created Kemosabe. The song's weird psychedelic sound was unlike anything on radio in 1969. Hack was decades ahead of his time, creating electronic music that wouldn't become mainstream until the 1980s. He spent his later years composing children's music and experimental electronic pieces, never again achieving commercial success. Hack recorded the song while under the influence of LSD, which he claimed helped him communicate with the synthesizers. He believed electronic music could tap into cosmic consciousness and frequently gave interviews about his spiritual experiences with machines. The FBI actually investigated him in the 1970s, suspecting his electronic music contained hidden messages or codes. They found nothing, but Hack's reputation as a mad scientist musician kept him from getting major label deals for the rest of his career. Tupper Saucy was a Nashville composer who created the Neon Philharmonic as a vehicle for his orchestral pop experiments. Morning Girl featured a 40-piece orchestra, making it one of the most expensive singles ever recorded at that time.
Morning girl, how...
After the group's success faded, Saucy became involved in anti-government activism and spent years as a fugitive from federal tax charges. He died in 2007, still maintaining his innocence and claiming the government persecuted him for his political beliefs. Saucy wrote Morning Girl about his affair with a married woman, but he disguised the lyrics so cleverly that even his own wife didn't realize what the song was about until years later. The woman in question was reportedly the wife of a prominent Nashville music executive, making the song's success even more scandalous. When the truth came out, it nearly destroyed several marriages and ended business relationships throughout Nashville's tight-knit music community. The Winstons were a Washington, D.C. funk band led by Richard Louis Spencer, who wrote Color Him Father about a stepfather raising him as his own son.
There's a man at my house, he's so big and strong. Goes
The song's message about blended families was progressive for 1969, addressing divorce and remarriage when those topics were still taboo. The song won a Grammy and hit number 7 on the pop charts. Spencer died in 2010, never receiving significant royalties from the thousands of rap songs that used his drum break. The song's success led to Spencer's arrest on drug charges that many believe were racially motivated. Police targeted the band after their anti-war statements during television appearances, and Spencer spent 2 years in prison on marijuana possession charges that would barely warrant a fine today. The arrest effectively ended the Winstons' career at their peak, and Spencer always maintained that the charges were fabricated to silence their political message. Italian composer Piero Umiliani originally created Mana Mana as background music for an adult film called Sweden, Heaven and Hell. The track became a worldwide hit when it was featured on The Muppet Show, introducing it to millions of children who had no idea about its adult film connection. Umiliani died in 2001, still amazed that his stupidest composition had become internationally famous. Disney executives nearly pulled the song from The Muppet Show when they discovered its pornographic origins, but Jim Henson fought to keep it because the melody was too perfect for the Muppet style. The controversy was kept secret for decades, with Disney actively suppressing information about the song's background. When the truth finally emerged in the 1990s, it created a minor scandal among parents who realized their children had been singing along to music originally composed for adult entertainment. These songs prove that 1969 was more than just the year of Woodstock and Abbey Road. Sometimes, the most interesting music comes from the most unexpected places, created by people who never intended to make history. Subscribe to our channel for more untold stories from music's forgotten corners. And don't forget to share this video with fellow music lovers who remember when radio was full of surprises.